You are about to enter a world rarely discussed at dinner tables, yet quietly present at life's most pivotal moments. A world where a single signature can unlock a fortune, or freeze it in time. A world where trust is currency, and hesitation can cost thousands. Tonight's journey does not take place in a distant galaxy, nor in a haunted mansion, but in conference rooms, hospital corridors, kitchen tables at 8:47 p.m., where opportunity knocks, and sometimes no one answers. You're about to meet the unseen guardians of agreements, the silent witnesses to power of attorney, real estate empires, last wills, and new beginnings. But beware, in this dimension, the difference between thriving and merely surviving is not talent, not luck, but infrastructure. Because somewhere between the missed call, the delayed follow-up, and the unreturned voicemail, revenue vanishes. And in its place, regret. Tonight, we explore the thin line between chaos and control, between the overwhelmed notary and the architect of precision. You're traveling through another dimension, a dimension not only of stamps and seals, but of systems and strategy. A journey into a land where every call matters, every minute counts, and automation whispers in the shadows. You've just crossed over into the Notary Insights Show.
Sorry about that. My son is upstairs watching the show and told me my mic was muted. So apologies for that. Got my brother Tech on the line. Bring Tech in here. I got the vest on, B. Got the vest on, man. Serious out here, man. Say niggas get shot every day, B.
Looking like paid in full. Looking like 50 Cent. And
your mic is muted, Tech.
Oh, my mic must not work. My mic
can't hear
work.
you.
It says at the audio. Let me go back out. I'll come back in. Damn.
Okay. I think he said he's going to jump off and jump back in. Yeah, so today is a show about, are notaries being replaced or just exposed? I know a lot of people are running around right now. They're saying, hey, AI is taking over. Remote online notarizations is killing the game. Rates are dropping. But here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Technology didn't kill the notary. It's exposing the weak ones. I'm going to say that slowly. Technology didn't kill the notary. It's exposing the weak ones. Let me share a quick story with you guys. So a notary wakes up early, right? Printer humming. The phone is silent. The gas tank is half full. They check their email. Another low ball offer. Another signing service. Another $75 deal. That notary gasped. He's like, oh, this industry is dying, they say. But across town, another notary has printed not one single paper, not one document. No gas, no chasing, no waiting, and their phone is ringing nonstop. Clients are asking for them by name. It's the same market, but the difference is in identity. And we're going to cover that today. So again, this is a serious topic we're going to discuss. I'm clipped up. I got the vest on, you know what I mean? And let's get right into it, man. We're going to go into the first slide. I think this is going to set the tone for how this show is going to go today. According to the Wall Street Journal, Oracle has laid off 30,000 employees. Listen, there are towns that don't even house 30,000. There are cities in different states that don't even have 30,000 in population. This guy, I believe his name is Ellison, lays off 30,000 people in one day. And guess how he did it? According to the Wall Street Journal, it said they had received an early morning email from Oracle leadership that thanked them for their work and informed them that it was their last day. That was a bloodbath. You hear me? Freddy Krueger and Jason together couldn't kill that many people in one time. 30,000 people laid off in one day with one email. That's no joke. So like I said, if you guys are a bit terrified of what's going on in this day and age, it is rightfully so. You are rightfully a little bit scared, or maybe you're petrified of what is happening in today's industry. 30,000, y'all. And the reason why he laid off so many people is because they are developing more and more AI into their system. They're spending, I think they said they were going to spend another $50 million or $500 million in creating more AI for the Oracle company. That's no joke. That is no joke. 30,000 people right now at home. The unemployment office is humming right now. Humming. What up, Tech?
Peace,
Peace,
yeah,
brother.
man. It's on fire out here in California. And I ain't talking about literally. I know. I see that article, the headline you put up. That's treacherous.
Did you hear how he did it?
Yeah, I heard it was through an email.
An email, bro. He soft coded the email in the beginning, saying, "Yo, good looking. Y'all really got this company on top. You did a great job. Today's your last day."
That's cold, man. That's cold. I mean, it's 30,000 people. How else would you be able to contact that many people at one time? I would say that it's damn near. It's tough. It ain't impossible. It's tough, but that's I never had good vibes about that dude, Larry Ellison. I'm not sure if he was the one who. If this is his idea. It probably is.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know the full facts, but at the same time, 30,000 people, man, bro, that's like economy shifting. That's just a lot of people.
It really is. It really is. And I was saying, like, I know there's a lot of notaries and even other industries that are petrified right now of what's going on. And I say it's rightfully so. Like, you see what's happening. It's a massive like, we're not creating jobs as quickly as AI is dismantling them. Facebook, I believe, like last month laid off 15,000. Microsoft recently laid off another, and these are in the thousands, right? Now the stock of Oracle has gone up, I believe, like 8 or 9%. So anytime there's a massive layoff, I want you guys to look at it as a hot air balloon. The hot air balloon cannot take off if the sandbags are inside of the hot air balloon. So they have to sacrifice the sandbags in order for the hot air balloon to go. So whenever they do massive layoffs like that, the stock usually goes up. So yeah, they went up about, 8-9%, and it's climbing right now. And who knows if that's just the first round of what they're doing. But this goes into the notary industry as well, Tech, because there are notaries out there that are saying AI is taking over. Ron is, killing the game. The rates are dropping, and people are saying, the notary is in a decline. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have opinions about AI. The only problem is that their opinions are misguided. I think their opinions are of that of scarcity and of fear. I think it's over intellectualized. I think it's over complicated, and the picture that's being painted is that you got to have some type of tech degree or some type of software engineering background in order for this to work for a notary public business. And I don't think that's true. I don't have a tech background, nor do I have a software engineering degree. I do have a drive, and also am in an environment where I've been exposed to technology, so I have that advantage. I can't sit here and tell you only half of the story, like I just picked this up out of nowhere. Full disclosure, I live in Silicon Valley. This is something that I've been exposed to for the last 20-something years. I mean, I remember my first email address in 1999. There's notaries that wasn't even born in 1999 that are, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember my first excite.com email in 1999. I don't have it anymore, obviously, but I've been around this industry for a long time. AI doesn't scare me. I'm not afraid of it at all. But I do know that there's a narrative being pushed out there that says that you have to have this working knowledge. You have to have this working knowledge of AI. It's got to be funny to a lot of people. But at the end of the day, who's really laughing? You know what I mean? Damn episode of The Simpsons for the last 30 minutes.
I don't even know how I hit that button, bro. It just kept going.
Yeah, just to sum it up, I know that people are afraid of AI, but the reality is the way AI has got to be used today, it can't be complex. It can't be overcomplicated. In other words, you are replacing yourself. You got to start with one task. And the easiest thing to do for a notary operator, so you can be like you're not dependent upon this industry, like a signing service industry, where like Oracle, they can just let you go. You're at their mercy.
I just find it fascinating that companies can ask you to give them a 2-week notice, but then they'll drop you like a bad habit in the same day on an email. Like that is just the wildest, just, I don't know, man. It that always sat bad with me. Like they want you to give a 2-week notice, but Oracle laid off 30,000 people in one swoop. Like they're still packing up their box, putting their stuff from their cubicle inside their box and grabbing the picture of their family off the desk.
Yeah, but who knows how much warning they've had? Not to defend them or anything, but who knows internally what was happening? How many people in their gut knew that that the time was coming, or some mid-level manager actually was sat in on the discussions about them potentially laying off these people and never told their loyal team, people that they worked with for decades. I know I have a friend who works for Oracle. He worked in their sales department for a long time. I need to go call him, check on him. But yeah, they don't have any obligation to give you any warning, man.
The way I see it, bro, is business, man. Business teaches you to be unemotional and play this game like chess. If you are an emotional creature in this game of entrepreneurship and big business, Oracle is a big business. They employ over 1 million people. Having that type of empathy may not be in their DNA, and I'm sure it's not in a lot of large company DNAs. That's why they have human resources, right? Humanize some part of this corporate structure. That's why there are unions, because you get lost in the sauce, you fall in the cracks with these big companies. But hey, like, again, this is business. This is a chess move. He may not be looking at the 30,000 employee. He may have his eyes on a completely different site, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that's why you got the vest on, I guess, to protect yourself in this dangerous landscape. Man.
Yeah, I'm firing back, bro. Okay, let's do some quick numbers on this, right? I'm gonna say, and I think I'm lowballing, but I'm gonna say the average person and my calculator may not even be able to fit these numbers, bro. I'm gonna say they're bringing in about $50,000 a year, right? And then I'm going to multiply that by 30,000. Let me see how many zeros that is. Okay. That one massive layoff is $1.5 billion. That's if the average is about $50,000. That's $1.5 billion this guy saved in an email.
Yeah, that's massively lowballing it.
Right?
Yeah. That number it's not even close, bro.
The story says that he is going to invest, I think, 50 or 500 million. That's a big number. I'm misquoting, or $500 million into the AI structure and stuff. So, but this goes into why the notaries need to pay attention to this next slide. You're either going to get rich or die wealthy. That's the game that we're playing. That is the game that we're playing. We are either going to get rich or die wealthy, Tech. So we have a couple of things that you need to be aware of. And I'm going to arm you guys with as much stuff as possible today so you understand the climate that you're actually in right now. Because it's some weird time. So let's go into the first slide. The first slide is ammo. You need ammunition for this day and time. So the ammo, there's an illusion that the industry is declining, but statistics show that there are more and more documents that need notarizations, and there's not enough notaries. You may be in some rooms where they're saying the industry is shrinking, but it's really splitting the low-level notaries versus the position operators. Tech, what do you say?
Great point. Fantastic. I hope this point is, you drive this point home, or you at least take a second to think about that. Industry isn't shrinking, but it's splitting between low-level notaries versus position operators. What does that mean? Let me give you a practical example, okay? You wake up in the morning and you got to go to the bathroom. And what always happens when you're in the bathroom?
Phone ring.
Damn phone rings, right? It always happens. And not only does it happen once, but it happens twice. How often has it happened to you? Here's what we're talking about: splitting low level versus the performing operator level notaries. Can you still close the deal from the bathroom? 2 appointments at a time. You're not even at your desk. You're not in your office. You're not driving. You're in your most vulnerable position. Can you still close Are you responsible for closing the deal, or do you have a system that actually closes the deal for you on your behalf so that you don't have to touch every single point? We're splitting low-level notaries from professional operators. See, a professional operator doesn't blink. A low-level notary, first of all, they may not even get the call. So we don't even talk about that enough, how people will look at your website, or they'll look at your profile that's on some database. It doesn't belong to you at all. It's not under your control whatsoever. And then the law office calling from Wisconsin, an injury law firm that's calling from Utah, they don't even bother calling you. They just skip right over it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's just say, give you benefit of the doubt, they do call you. Both of them, right? Both the private individual who's trying to schedule a notary for her and her husband, and the law office at the same time. Let's say they both called you. You're fortunate enough that they selected you. Can you close the deal? Can you get back to them with a text message? Can you send them an instant email with a summary of what you just discussed, and then allows them to advance forward and book the appointment without interrogating them, without asking them unnecessary questions? The low-level notaries who won't be able to absorb that level of engagement versus the top high-performing operators who do that in their sleep. That's what the industry is now becoming, is splitting between those.
It is. Well said, bro. Let's go into the next one. It's the trap. We're going to talk about the trap. So, the commodity trap. This is a big one. It's like lining up ketchup. They're all in the same bottle, but they're different brands. You have Heinz, you have Hunt's, you have this, you have that, you have the No Frills brand. You line up all of the ketchup. You don't know which one is which. Now, you know, if there was a label on it, yes, you would pick Heinz or whatever your personal favorite is. But notaries are falling into this commodity trap. So if you look like everyone else, you're going to get paid like everyone else. Most notaries are competing on the same 3 things: speed, availability, and price. That is a race to the bottom. Tech?
Yeah, my thoughts on that is this. Listen, the first bullet point says you look like everyone else, get paid like everyone else. So how do you, well, the question then naturally becomes, well, how do you stand out? Then, yeah, it's true. Everybody's got a stamp. Everyone's got a commission. But like you say, the stamp doesn't do anything. The stamp, it literally just sits there on the shelf on the table. It's just plastic and rubber. It doesn't do anything. You is what makes the stamp actually get paid. You is the sauce is you, your individual. So how do you stand out? Well, if everybody says a notary is here to deter fraud and to witness IDs, well, you don't say that. Say, I'm here to professionally handle your documents today, right? You make yourself stand out. Well, if everybody says that they answer the phone themselves, well, you don't do that. You instead have the automated answers system that actually can intake or absorb all the calls. You set yourself apart in those ways. Everybody says that, you know, they can do same-day appointments. Well, not only do we do same-day appointments, but we do courtesy reminders up to 2 per hour and 15 minutes prior to the start of your appointment, and on top of text messages. How do you stand out? How do you not look like everyone else? We can service people all over the country. We can actually discharge a notary to your house in less than half an hour. Everybody else needs 5 hours in order to get their ducks in a row. How do you stand out? No one runs ads. We run ads. Right? They're busy posting stuff on a corkscrew board in the laundromat at the library. Meanwhile, you found us because you searched in Google notary in Miami, notary in Ohio, notary in whatever respective state. So I think that notaries, they commoditize themselves by saying, I have a commission, I'm an extension of the Secretary of State, therefore you should trust me. There's some truth to that, but then you'll be forever dependent upon the platforms, and you'll find yourselves at the mercy of someone like Oracle, where they decide one day they don't need you no more. Then what?
And there are notaries out there that have experienced that.
Yeah. I'm trying to break away from that.
So some of the ways I think notaries can stand out is by specializing in something. Even though you can notarize multiple different type of documents, show that you specialize in something specific. Show that you have a very high success rate of it being done flawlessly the first time. Show them that you have partnered with different entities and large companies. These are ways that you could start standing out and not look like just an average looking notary. Because look, there are lawyers in every single state, almost every city, right? Every major city. What gave the right to Johnny Cochran to be able to charge how much he charged, or a Robert Shapiro to be able to charge what he charged, when there were hundreds, if not thousands, of other lawyers in California? Positioning. You want a big case? You ride that till the wheels fall off. You keep mentioning it. I won this major case. There's nothing wrong with repetition. As you guys know, I'll say that I'm 3-time best-selling author on purpose. I repeat it all the time because it's a positioning power for me. So there are many ways that you can position yourself and not look like a commodity, look like an unlabeled bottle of ketchup.
Yeah, it's the corner store. And supermarket notary versus the corner store notary, man.
Or boutique notary. So think about that. Let's go on to the next one. Tech, you are using this word quite often today, and is very fitting because now we're going to talk about the notary operator. We are now living in the rise of the notary operator. We haven't seen this type of notary before. We haven't. This, and I have the illustration of a military man operating a drone. Now, if you know how powerful a drone is, these drones can carry missiles, bombs, do surveillance, all in the comfort of whatever bunker he's in. So you have the notary now who is building a system, an infrastructure. No longer, I'll just take every phone call that when the phone rings, if I get to the phone, great. If I don't, I missed a call. Well, you're really missing money. They're automating communication. Let me paint this out real quick. In order for you to automate communication, you have to be forward thinking. You have to think about how the customer is going to receive this line of communication. You have to foresee if this customer will appreciate this form of communication. You're looking for trust points. You're gaining trust points as you do this. Now we're going to create a brand identity. Oh, snap. Notaries never really talk about a brand before. Now, in this rise of the notary operator, brands are even more important. These people aren't surviving, they're dominating. Tech, you want to talk about the notary operator?
Listen, man, the rise, listen, we're already here. A lot of them are already here. Not a lot. I can't, a lot is very vague and non-specific. I will say this. The difference between the notary operator versus someone who's platform dependent, there's a huge difference. And I always want to point this out. I've been thinking about this a lot for the last couple of weeks, is that, you know, notary is one thing. When you talk about like field inspections, talk about apostille, that's not notary. It's something completely different. Doesn't mean you can't apply the same logic and the same principles and still try to operate as, you know, like a notary business owner, because that's like fingerprinting. Those things are like ancillary businesses, ancillary services and whatnot. I'll give you an example. So the law office that contacts you don't actually need the documents to be notarized. They just need you to get the client to sign them and then send them back. All right. But you charge them like a notary would. Well, there's 25 signatures on there. Well, then they push back and say, well, they're not being stamped. They're not being notarized. How do you operate out of that? How do you do you put yourself in a corner and say, well, my fee is this. And this is the added talk about brand, recognition and building a brand. Well, if your brand is, I'm going to get defensive, I'm going to say how much my worth is. I know my worth. I don't leave the house for less than $45. I don't do, like, you start to then take on this identity or this narrative that now all of a sudden it's all about you, circled around you, versus a company, versus a policy, versus this is our operation. Yeah, we can help you with that. Here's how it works, though. Now I'm outlining my terms. No signature needs to be notarized. Here's how it's going to go down. Here's how you're going to forward us the documents. Here's how we're going to charge. Here's how you select the time for your client. Here's where you input their information. And you set the parameters and the guidelines for how this is going to work. And that's when we talk about brand identity, talking about how to function as an operator versus just being at the mercy of what everyone else says. That's the rise of more focus and uh, notaries are non-dependent on that old, outdated model, which is not serving anybody, right? It's there's a select few that may benefit from that, but overall, people who are just branching into this industry, people who've been in for a long time, they recognize that there's really only one successful way to operate, and that's really to run your own appointments, get your own clients, and determine your own destiny.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got about 2 more slides, so let's take a quick break.
I thought I was doing well in my notary business. I was busy. My calendar was full. Money was coming in. But something felt off, like I was working too hard for what I was earning. So I took the revenue leakage scorecard. It showed me exactly where money was slipping through my business, missed opportunities, weak follow-up, pricing gaps, and retention blind spots I didn't even realize I had. It didn't just give me a number, it gave me clarity. If you're serious about scaling and not just staying busy, you need to see where you really stand. This isn't a quiz, it's a diagnostic, and they only review 10 completed assessments per month. If you want to operate like a CEO and not just a technician, take the assessment now. Because in business, clarity changes everything.
Audio? Oh, yeah. AI isn't the threat. You're not muted, are you?
A bit slow delay on the interactive side of this platform, but we good. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So AI isn't the threat, it's the filter, as we discussed on the first one. Systems like Sabrina AI don't replace notaries. Let me make that clear. We're not here to replace the notary, but we are replacing the disorganized business owners and businesses. If your business is running like a mom and pop store and phone calls don't get answered in a timely fashion, follow-ups are null and void, no confirmation, and we live in the climate where people expect these things from companies, yes, Sabrina is going to displace you. Because when you pair that notary, the Sabrina user operator, with a notary that is just running like a mom and pop store, it's like that movie, I think it was called, if I'm not mistaken, Sleepless in Seattle, or the one with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan. He basically owned Barnes and Noble, and she owned a small little cozy bookstore. There was no comparison. There was no comparison to the amount of books, the amount of events, the amount of perks that he could offer versus her. That is what it's going to look like in the notary industry. Tech?
Oh, that's what Sleepless in Seattle was about? I didn't know that.
It's either that or it's the one with Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan for sure. I don't know the exact name, but I know that was the premise of it because I loved Barnes and Nobles back then. I was like, oh, they're kind of like playing off of Barnes and Noble, how Barnes and Noble was considered a category killer.
Yeah. No, I get you. I get the. That's a good analogy. That's a good analogy. Yeah, AI is not going to replace notaries, but I mean, I think about the Steve up there in Washington, the person who talks themselves out of the industry because they've been operating like mom and pop, and I've been doing it for years. And then when it comes time to evolve or to upgrade, everything is fear-based. So they completely just reject the idea that I don't need to do it because I've worked with the same clients for the last 10 years. They love me. They respect me, not knowing that these people don't have any loyalty to you, a la Oracle. The sooner someone cheaper comes around, especially if you don't offer, you don't upgrade, you haven't evolved, you don't give them. Put it this way, I went to a restaurant this past weekend and they did something that's fantastic. I'm going to implement it in my notary business. The product, it was like a sandwich. It was like $9. They sent me an email 2 days later saying that you can get $5 off your next sandwich. I said, that's more than 50%. Imagine implementing something like that in the notary industry. In other words, somebody gets a notarization done. I call them. I call people afterwards and I ask them, how was your appointment? Did everything get signed? Was everything smooth? And that's my way of getting the 5-star review, or at least hearing what they're going to write. And then after that, they get a tag. 2 days later, they get an automated email that says, here's glad everything went well. Here's an opportunity for your next one. Or you can send this over to a colleague or to a friend or family member. How about this? $25 off your next, a $25 credit towards your next notary appointment that you can share with another colleague or a friend or family member. And that's another way, even though you do take a small hit, you absorb a hit. But what you've done, in my opinion, because I don't operate like a mom and pop store, I operate like a big business. All I'm doing is I'm setting up my next appointment. See, some people may see that as, well, out $25 discount. Not really. Like you always say, give them, reword it as a credit, reposition it as a credit. Now you're setting up future appointments now. And then obviously give them an expiration date. This expires in 25 days, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 1 year, whatever you have it. But you see the difference of how operating like a mom and pop store where Steve out in Washington calls you at the last minute and then cancels, versus somebody who says, it's a completely different experience. Completely different. Not only did you get everything handled and done and taken care of, but now they're communicating with you and they're giving you offers, promotional offers, like a business. Like, what has people come to expect? You just said it. That's what's normal today in this era that we live in.
And you have to operate as such, man. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, man. Like yes, the industry is changing. The market is still the same, but the industry is changing. There are things that are being adopted into this industry, and it is conditioning the people to respond a certain way to the way your business is set up. If I do a lot of online shopping, and 9 out of 10 times I'm receiving confirmation emails, they're emailing me my receipt. I don't have to talk to anybody, no awkward positions or anything like that. Like, I'm like, okay, I like the way these things are moving. But then it's like, okay, now I need a notary. I got called, but then I go to voicemail. I don't know if this person's going to call me back. Like, I gotta move on. I have to move on. So I'm going to go down the list in Google, and then I'm going to call the next person. And the person that answered the phone first has a greater chance of earning my business than the person that left me a voicemail. Or sent me the voicemail graveyard. Yeah. Hey, it's in your face. So if you're suffering in this business, it's your fault. So here go the last slide here. The real question is, are you in the notary business, or are you just doing notary task? Some people are in love with doing the I like to call it the Kinko task. It's a lot of tedious shit to do when I was working at Kinko's. It's a very tedious job. And there were some people, I hated it, but there were some people that loved it.
Right.
And there are notaries that absolutely love the task of being a notary. I'm talking about They have stacks of paper in their office. They have file cabinets. They have the sticky notes. They love putting the sticky notes on the pieces of paper. Sign here, sign. They become document specialists. They know the documents so well that they can call back the title and escrow company and say, you guys are missing something. Shout out to the NSAs that are that thorough. They will call the signing company and say, you're missing this disclosure. Oh my God, I missed that. I'm sorry. Let me send that over to you. They're in love with the task. But as far as learning the things to help their business grow, not interested. And then they wonder why the fees are getting smaller.
Right.
Why their partnered company isn't calling them as often. You know those calls, Tech. Just calling to see if you had any more business, Tech. Tiger, you just see if you know, keep me in mind.
Yeah.
You know, just want to make sure you guys are still, you got anything coming up this week? They're chasing deals. We're trying to show you how to get them to chase you. What do you say, Tech?
No, the task part is a trap, because the analogy I like to use is the treadmill analogy, which is you're on the treadmill, you're sweating, you're breathing, muscles are pumping, heart rate is going, but you're not physically going anywhere. The equivalent of a notary being so enamored and just so drunk in love with sending emails and doing social media and telling, coming up with stories to tell and to how they can go on social media and complain about something. That's like being on a treadmill. It's not advancing you forward. Now, what's the difference? What would be an example of a income generating activity or a task that did not seem like you were stuck in place? Well, I'll tell you one thing. How about a call script? Let's start there. How about measuring where someone calls from, what did they call about, what day did they call on, what time, and what was the outcome? And then refining that method so that the next time somebody calls and they request a specific type of document or any type of appointment, then you can correct why you didn't get the last one. So now it becomes you've taken a step forward. So that's just one simple example of how I'm not just sitting on looking up, going Google and saying all the title companies that are in my zip code, and now I'm trying to send out emails to them. That's not moving the needle forward. It's not. And it can be a trap for new notaries because they're looking for things and activities. How come my phone isn't ringing? It was ringing 2 years ago off the hook, but now everybody says I need to update my Google Business profile. So I'm just going to go on Canva and create all these images and then just post them on my Google Business profile and hoping that somebody calls me. Not realizing that all the calls that you're currently getting right now, they're just leaking through and you're missing them. So you need to plug the holes. That's what's really going to lead to more activity. It's not just being busy. It's a trap, getting overwhelmed with these tasks and thinking that you're busy, but in reality, you're on a treadmill just spinning your wheels in the mud.
Yeah, bro. If you are afraid of today's times and what we're going through, like, you got to prepare for it. Don't sit on your hands and like wait for, the train to come hit you. We're giving you the tools. Every Wednesday, we give you the tools to arm yourself to run a successful notary business. We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't give you no comfort food content. Feel good. This is hard hitting topics we cover. Tech and I aren't motivational speakers. We don't aim to be. We understand the climate of this industry from a very, very specific level. How many notaries do you know have a software company that is created to capture revenue for notaries, specifically notaries and only notaries?
And we're not talking about accounting software. That's not what we're talking. We're not talking about a mileage tracker. That's not what we're talking about. Okay, no hate towards those people who have accounting software and how to track your, accounts receivable and your payments and how to track your mileage. Hey man, do it. That's not the type of software. We're talking about software that's going to essentially replace you in a good way so that you don't have to touch every single point of your notary, your enterprise.
I'm gonna leave it at this, Tech, because I gotta go take care of the young one. I'm gonna ask the notaries that are watching this show, how many phone calls did you miss today?
Sit on that.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Notary Insights Show. Next week, we will bring back Pass or Trash, one of our favorite segments out here. And any last words, Tech?
Yeah, don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged by what we talk about. This is here to inform you so that you have the armed tools to go out there and accomplish what it is that you set out to achieve.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, peace, love, and happiness, and cash flow. Yeah.
You know what's wild? The biggest threat to a notary business isn't competition. It's missed calls. While you're driving, while you're notarizing, while you're living, revenue is ringing, and no one's there to answer. That's why we built Sabrina AI. Not another app, not another chatbot. A trained AI phone receptionist engineered specifically for notaries. She answers your business line instantly, qualifies the caller, schedules the appointment, handles the follow-up, all while you stay focused on closing deals. The smartest operators aren't working harder, they're building systems. And when a client calls a Sabrina-powered notary, it feels structured, it feels premium, it feels inevitable. Right now, most notaries are still doing this manually. The ones booking demos, they're building leverage. If you're serious about running your notary business like a CEO, not an operator, book the demo. Watch Sabrina answer a live call and decide for yourself whether you want to chase income or have it captured automatically.